everyone, welcome to another episode of Spiritual Superpowers. I'm Caron, this is Dawn, and we have a very interesting episode for you today. We are going to talk about IET, or Integrated Energy Therapy.
That's right, because you went for a treatment recently.
Yes.
With Atrielle.
With Atrielle, who we've done episodes with before, and wow, this was really cool.
Well, I just read the report, and it sounds just mind-blowing. Like, I've never seen anything like this before.
Yeah. The depth of it was kind of crazy. So basically, Atrielle explains like it's like more of a hands-on like Reiki treatment, but then she just tunes into whatever she sees.
And with her psychic abilities, she taps into quite a lot of different things.
Yeah, she does. Okay, so we'll talk in a little bit about it in more detail, but let's just roll the video.
Yeah. So here's a clip of Caron having a treatment with Atrielle.
Hi everyone, we're here with Atrielle, and you'll remember Atrielle from our past episodes on Rife Resonance Therapy. And today we're going to talk about a different type of treatment called IET, or Integrated Energy Therapy. So why don't you start by explaining what Integrated Energy Therapy is?
Okay, so IET is basically like a form of Reiki. It was created by a white light Reiki master. And he created it because he was unable to clear energy blockages with Reiki alone. So he channeled through how to do this integrated energy therapy. And basically what you do is you're accessing the meridian points of the body where the energy channels flow closest to the surface of the body. And at these specific points, you are triggering an emotion. So for instance, on the top of the head would be guilt, and you're integrating in innocence. So when I do that, what happened with me was I started seeing people's Akashic records. And I started communicating with their guides, their higher selves, having visions of their parallel lives, and receiving messages and visions for them. So it actually turned into something a bit further from IET, but IET was designed to clear out the energy blockages. So basically like the reel of these loops that's in your cellular memory that repeats itself over and over again, and then it blocks you from going through certain doors in your life and moving forward. So it's a very powerful form of energy healing, and it changed my life. That's why I started doing it, was because of how powerful it was for me when I first experienced it. And then I basically started doing it for free for a while to get a feel of it and to see, you know, if it was really effective or not. And then I realized I had all of these amazing abilities. So that was really cool because I didn't really know that before. So I do offer that as well. I'm a master instructor as well.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Great. So let's talk about the treatment itself.
This is through light touch though. So with Reiki, you don't really touch, you're manipulating the energy. But with IET, it's through light touch on specific points, and then you're channeling in the violet ray. And the violet ray is the ray of transmutation, forgiveness, and mercy. And these are really important things for us to move forward as a collective consciousness. So I've worked with the violet ray for many years, since my early 20s. And so it came very naturally to me. But it is about being the channel, being the conduit of energy, and not absorbing that energy or taking it on. You're just the channel.
Right. And I think with different health conditions, and that's what I'm coming for a treatment for, is a lot of people address the physical and don't address the emotional, the spiritual layers, and that sort of thing. So I think that's very important for people to realize. So in terms of treatments, is it kind of like a one and done, or should you do again?
No, I mean,
it's never that way, right?
You don't go on a run and lose 20 pounds, right? So it's recommended to do 4 sessions within 8 weeks. To really see a change. I have noticed though with my sessions that people feel a very tangible change, and they can be very powerful. Some people are happy with one. But I do recommend continuing with it regularly because we also go out and pick up more static in our field,
Right.
and we run into more obstacles. So for me, it became a way of life, and I think that going that route is a way of life. Also, I think it's very important to note that the non-physical comes before the physical.
Yes. Yes.
Thought comes before the physical. Consciousness comes before our physical reality. So in truth, it really is going to the root of the problem. Yeah.
Oh, well, that's amazing. I can't wait to experience it.
Yeah.
So why don't we get right to it?
Okay, sounds good. I call upon the angels, spirit guides, and ascension team of Caron, as well as my angels, spirit guides, and ascension team. I ask that this healing session be done in the highest good for Caron and her life path and her healing. And I ask that we be put in a silver orb and protected from all energies so that this healing session may only be influenced by the highest good as I connect to your oversoul. I'm now going to receive a starburst of energy as I offer it back up in gratitude. And then bring it down into your abdomen. Let's see a ripple effect happening in your whole body. And your solar plexus is responding, shining brighter. Now I see the flower of life forming and a lily blooming. May I speak some light language?
Of course.
Takura tinai, Siotara shionasa, Nikolaya kriyanora, Siti kiasata. Now I see water just pouring in, and I'll call upon the crystal seas of purification to assist in this healing session.
All right, so why don't we go over some of the things that really stood out to you?
Yeah.
And especially this first one I really like because you mentioned that you were experiencing something at the same time as what came out in the report, and that's the skeleton.
Right. What Atrielle does is when she's doing the session, she will stop every once in a while and just write down what comes to her at different points during the session. So there was one point where I just saw this skeleton in my mind, and it was like this, and it was creepy.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to get it out of my mind, and I couldn't get it to leave. But all of a sudden, poof, it was gone, and it never came back. And then in the report that Atrielle sent, she talked about this skeleton. She says, when bringing in the energy of distrust to the surface, I saw you in a death form, skeleton and blackness, and saw that this was associated with Western medicine. And, you know, I've had my ups and downs with Western medicine.
That's a good way of putting it, yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, but then boom, in came the astral surgery team.
This sounds
And
so
then-
cool.
And then it went away. If we want to talk about this astral medical surgical team or whatever you want to call it, at that point, guess what started to happen? I started to get, and where did that happen last
That's
time?
right. If you remember, we did a video of Caron and I in Florida at a Joe Dispenza conference, and Caron had multiple healings, multiple days, and a lot of the times it was her being all contorted. And we'll include a link to that episode below, but here's a little clip of Caron being a little contorted.
You just keep moving through stuff?
I'm gonna hardly get back here. Okay, I'm stuck, and then let's go.
Oh my god.
All right, so this is what was happening, right?
Right. And then I had my eyes closed, but Atrielle said afterwards, her hands were like shaking, which is similar to what happened in the Dr. Joe conference when the friends that I made there did a healing. They started shaking, and then I got the...
That's right. We were all together in a circle doing the work, and Caron was on the floor in the middle, and there's women who are like literally doing this while you start to contort on the ground.
Right.
Yeah. So
right.
that is what was happening.
Yeah. So there's a couple theories on this, that the people that are around are bringing their own energy up and out through their hands, right? And that's the shaking, is just the energy leaving their body. Or this medical team, this astral medical team steps in to help. So it was so shockingly similar.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, that was kind of cool.
Well, that was really cool.
Yeah. But one thing that I did really like is that she used light language at certain points.
That's really
And
cool.
let's just talk about light language for a moment. And, you know, from what I understand, light language, when someone speaks light language, they don't even know what they're saying. They're just channeling it. The great thing about light language is the recipient that hears it, you know, experiences healing just by hearing it.
Right. Yeah. So if you hear someone doing light language, you get healed, and that's anyone who's listening.
Yeah.
Yeah. But in that moment, she was speaking light language,
she
which
was.
is really cool. And so that was between you and her.
Yeah.
Yeah. You both got to benefit.
Yeah, so it was very cool. And let's talk about another thing that she saw, which was a former life of mine in ancient Egypt. I was an Egyptian priestess.
Really cool, right?
And I had these Anubis dogs all around me. And you know what was kind of cool about that is I had a reading with Michael Philpott, and he also saw me as an Egyptian priestess with Anubis dogs all around me.
Yeah. And for those of you who don't know, Michael Philpott has a podcast called The Metaphysical Mentor. And he's a friend of ours, and we've had him on our show. So we'll include some of those links to his episodes down below. But yes, he had done a reading on Caron and brought up Egypt and brought up you being a priestess with these dogs, which I didn't even know anything about these dogs. But it's quite fascinating how much they were worshipped.
What else? What else do we want to highlight here? So at one point, this etheric medical team sat on the ground and started to chant. And I remember at that point, all the shoulder twitches just stopped. And she said they did this sacred body wrap with healing plasma.
That's really cool.
Almost like a seaweed wrap that you get at a spa, right?
Yeah.
So I like the idea of that.
That sounds lovely.
And we might as well mention when we went to Grail Springs.
I did. I had a mud wrap, I believe it was. And I just love them because of how you feel afterwards. There's something so special. You feel grounded, yet you feel light. You feel clean. You feel nourished. It's so beautiful. I love body wraps. And so it sounds like they took your energy body and gave you a nice plasma wrap. Trip to the spa.
Yeah. And the other thing she saw around me a lot was turtles and dolphins. Whenever Dawn tunes into me when I'm having surgery, sounds like it's a lot, but a few times anyway, I always talk about wanting to swim with the dolphins. Well, so the thing is, you can swim with dolphins in captivity, but I wouldn't really want to do that.
No.
Really want to swim with wild dolphins. So, and we are going to Hawaii, so let's just see what happens.
Yeah, we're going to make it happen.
Yeah.
Or we'll get to see what happens when you do swim with the dolphins, what that meant for you, because it's got to have some kind of significance.
I think so.
If you've told me a few times and it came up in this healing as well.
Well,
So
time will
see.
tell.
Yes.
Yes.
So Hawaii is very healing to
For
you.
me, yes. And also, Hawaii is, from a spiritual perspective, known as the ancient Lemurian motherland.
That is cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I'm going to have to look that up.
me too. So, Atrielle also tuned in to the fact that, Spirit was calling me Astara throughout the whole reading.
Yeah. So you
And-
have like a light name.
So yeah, she feels that this is, one of my names in the higher realms.
That's really
So it's a pretty name,
a very, very pretty name.
right?
So we'll
I
just
love
start
that.
calling Caron.
Just call me a star. Oh, so anyway, there was just so much here, and a lot that I really resonated with. Some that was a little over my head, but very cool at the same time. So some things that I need to do some more research on to understand more. But boy,
And I think it just gives credibility to her knowledge. Like she talks about all this stuff in the report and with such understanding.
yeah,
And there's a lot in here that I've never even heard of because we're learning.
yeah,
And we're sharing that information.
Yeah.
But, she clearly has so much knowledge.
right. So not only was she explaining what she saw, but she was healing me at certain points when she saw things that needed to be healed. Like, the effect of 5G,
Right.
Wi-Fi, and
Other entities.
yeah,
Yeah. So, like her accuracy in information is just mind-blowing. And I can't wait to look up this stuff because
Yeah.
we're going to learn that way.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And so I highly recommend a treatment
I'm
with
going to do it.
Atrielle. She's
Yeah.
just so amazing. I don't know. I just can't say enough about, what she does.
And I feel like we're discovering more of what she does because you go see her for Rife and you think that's where it ends, but she has so many other layers, so many other gifts and talents, and I'm having fun hearing your stories of all the things that you're discovering with her, and I can't wait to try my own.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So that is it for today. If you like this episode, make sure you give us a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already done so. And hit that notification bell so you don't miss another episode.
So thank you so much for being with us, and we look forward to seeing you next time.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.